I chose a feminist lie over my husband, and I paid the ultimate price. I'm 53 years old, writing this from a rehab center, finally sober, after a decade of self-destruction. 10 years ago, I had everything: a 23-year marriage to a good man, 4 beautiful daughters, a loving son, and a peaceful home. My husband, Mike, adored me since junior high. He worked tirelessly, never for himself, always for us, always whispering, "Thank you for our family." But then my daughters came home from college with vocabulary sharp enough to cut through the walls of my marriage. Patriarchy. Emotional labor. Internalized misogyny. Those words ate through me like acid. And on Mike's 45th birthday, I did something unforgivable. I served him divorce papers. In front of everyone. While accusing him of abuse. I thought I was empowered. I was actually insane. This is the story of how I burned down my own life, and watched the flames swallow. People think destruction is loud, explosive, dramatic. Mine was quiet. It began with conversations in a living room scented with vanilla candles, with my daughters home from college, each armed with theories they barely understood, but repeated like scripture. They spoke with sharp tongues and soft certainty, convincing me I had spent my entire adulthood oppressed without realizing it. I didn't notice the poison entering my bloodstream. Not at first. Mike didn't either. He was too busy being the man he always was: steady, gentle, sacrificial. The one who fixed the leaking pipe at 2 a.m. The one who massaged my feet after long shifts. The one who sent me good morning texts even after 20 years. But once the poison took root, everything he did began to look sinister. And, God help me, let it happen. The first fracture didn't come from a fight. It came from a laugh. My daughter, Chloe, a sociology major, watched Mike pour my coffee one Saturday morning. He did this every day for 2 decades. It was sweet. It was routine. It was love. But she smirked. "Mom, you know that's emotional labor, right? Dad should pour his own coffee." Emotional labor. A phrase I had never heard before, but it slithered into me like a whisper I wasn't prepared to confront. Mike chuckled, thinking it was a joke. "It's just coffee, kiddo." Chloe rolled her eyes. "That's what men always say. Mom's been conditioned to serve you. You don't even notice." Before I could respond, my other daughter, Mia, jumped in. "Yeah, Mom does everything. And Dad just gets to be the hero." The air shifted. My daughters weren't questioning coffee, they were questioning my entire life. That afternoon, they set me down for what they called a deprogramming session. They talked for hours. "You've been groomed into a domestic role. You've been performing unpaid emotional labor for years. You've internalized misogyny without knowing it. You think Dad is good because you've normalized male dominance." Each word hammered against the foundation of my marriage. Each phrase chipped away at memories I once held as beautiful. By evening, I found myself questioning things that never bothered me before. Why does Mike drive when we go out? Why does he handle the bills? Why does he choose the TV shows? Why does he fix things instead of letting me call someone? Suddenly, every act of love looked like control. Every gesture of care looked like manipulation. Every memory looked like a lie. And I, blind, foolish, hungry for validation, let my daughters rewrite my past. Mike noticed the shift before I admitted it to myself. At first, it was small. I stopped laughing at his jokes. Stopped reaching for his hand. Stopped asking how his day was. He felt it. He always felt everything when it came to me. "You okay, sweetheart?" he asked one night, touching my shoulder. I flinched. Not because I didn't want him to touch me. but because my daughter's voices echoed in my head. Men use physical affection to soften women before asserting control. I pulled away. I'm fine. But I wasn't. I was drowning in theories I barely understood, yet believed wholeheartedly. I began writing lists. Everything Mike ever said or did that could be problematic. Every time he asserted dominance. Every time he silenced me by disagreeing. Every moment I had been trained to be the perfect wife. I turned ordinary memories into evidence. When he told me I looked beautiful. His tying your worth to appearance. When he bought me a new car. His bribing you with gifts to maintain control. When he asked why I was distant. His policing your emotions. My daughters nodded, satisfied. You're waking up, Mom. We are proud of you. That approval. It felt intoxicating. I didn't realize I was trading a man's unconditional love for the conditional acceptance of people who didn't understand what marriage truly meant. I didn't realize I was losing my own mind. Mike's 45th birthday was supposed to be joyful. He loved birthdays. Not because he liked gifts, he rarely accepted any. But because he loved seeing everyone he cared about in one place. He arrived from work early, carrying balloons. The moment he stepped into the living room and saw the decorations, he grinned like a child. You guys did all this. For me. My daughters exchanged a glance. I looked at my husband, a good man, who had never spent a single day trying to hurt me. And yet. My mind had already been rewired to see him as an enemy. My daughters whispered. Do it tonight. It's symbolic. Take your power back. So I did. God forgive me, I did. In front of 30 people, friends, neighbors, my own children, I walked out holding an envelope. The room fell silent. Mike smiled, confused, thinking it was a birthday surprise. It wasn't. I served him divorce papers. And then, coached by my daughters, I accused him of emotional abuse. The room gasped. Mike went pale. He didn't yell. He didn't defend himself. He didn't curse me. He simply said, quietly, Honey, why? I will never forget the look in his eyes. Not anger. Not disbelief. But heartbreak. The kind that tears a man from the inside out. He walked out without taking his cake. Without touching his presents. Without saying goodbye. He never stepped into that house again. My daughters celebrated my liberation. For 3 months, I thought I had done something brave. Then reality ripped the ground from beneath me. Mike fought for custody. And he won. Not because he was manipulative. Not because he lied. But because every accusation I made fell apart under scrutiny. I had no evidence. He had decades of devotion. My daughters testified for me. But my son stayed silent the entire trial. After the verdict, he approached me and said, Mom. Dad never abused you. You listened to voices that wanted a villain. And you chose one. Then he left with his father. My daughters turned on me next. One by one, they distanced themselves. Not because they loved Mike more. But because they realized they ruined their own family with theories they didn't truly understand. Each of them eventually left home. I was alone. Truly, devastatingly alone. And that's when I discovered what loneliness tastes like. Cheap vodka. Late-night cigarettes. Empty nights. Numb mornings. A silence so loud it claws at your skull. I drank to forget. I drank to sleep. I drank to stop seeing Mike's face every time I closed my eyes. By year 4, I lost my house. By year 6, I lost my job. By year 8, I lost every shred of dignity I once had. And by year 10, I almost lost my life. That brings me to today. 53 years old. Sitting on a hard bed in a rehab center that smells like bleach and despair. My hands shake when I write this. Not from fear. From withdrawal. I've spent a decade trying to drink away a truth too heavy for a single person to carry. I destroyed a man who loved me. Not because he hurt me. Not because he oppressed me. But because I was convinced I was oppressed. Even when I was cherished. I traded a good marriage for ideology. Traded devotion for delusion. Traded gratitude for arrogance. And the movement that promised empowerment. It disappeared the moment my life collapsed. Not a single feminist came to help. Not one offered a couch. Not one offered comfort. But Mike. He sent a letter. Not angry. Not triumphant. Just heartbroken. I hope you heal, Mary. I hope you find the peace that was always in our home. I forgive you. But I can never return. I read that letter every night. Because it reminds me of the truth. I wasn't oppressed. I was loved. And I destroyed the only man who ever loved me. This is my confession. My warning. My curse. My truth. To any woman listening. If someone convinces you to see love as oppression, you will end up alone. You will end up broken. You will end up like me. And there is no empowerment in that. Only regret that never sleeps.